to you all, guys and girls. I am Mike Scorpio of Nintendo 64, and joining me for the second part of our Let's Talk About Nintendo Switch is my compadre and editor-in-chief, Jack Longman. Jack Longman, come and say hello.
Hello everyone, it's me, Jack Longman, and basically this is our second part video of talking about the Nintendo Switch. I think it's only fitting I pick two categories that we're going to talk about as quickly as we can. If there's time for anything else, then I'll let Michael pick those. But yes, Splatoon. There is in fact Splatoon on the Nintendo Switch, but it is not a new Splatoon game. From what I've been hearing and from what we've seen, it is simply a port. There will be customizable hairstyles, there will be newer weapons, and it's reported newer stages as well. But it is, from the talk I've been hearing, they are stating it is the port. It is in fact a port, and it's not a new game. So, and it's like, please don't take it out of context. It is a port. We told you we hope to port Splatoon over to the NX, to the Switch, and that's exactly what it is. It's a port, no more, no less.
Okay.
But it would be nice if they bring back Splatfest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not the same without Splatfest.
It's the multiplayer aspect of it. Now, a good thing to think about is for Splatoon, because we know that it is a port. Now, for the Wii U version, one plays with the TV, the other plays with the gamepad. Now, how's that going to work for the two-player multiplayer on the gamepad? Are they actually on the Joy-Con Switch tablet? Is it going to be a split screen, or is it you're going to have two different switches to play it? Now, Mario Kart was always split screen anyway, so that was never really a problem for Mario Kart 8. But Splatoon, and maybe for example like other games like Pokken Tournament, which depends on the two different screens, how's that going to work if that was to get a port as well?
Well, going by what you suggest, and which is a good point, I think it wouldn't. I mean, let's say the pad, the stage is the size of the Wii U gamepad. Mm-hmm. You split that in half, you know, you got a whole lot to look at. So, in theory, it wouldn't. You would need another Nintendo Switch, and you each have one each, and you play it together. And I think that is the direction they're going to go for, because we saw the online play, where there's four of them all sat around. I think that is exactly how it's going to happen. That is how it's played. You can't just do it with someone else. It wouldn't look right.
No. So it does depend largely on other people having their own consoles as well, as opposed to multiplayer. Now, there will be some multiplayer games on it, granted, we already know with Mario Kart, and games like football games and basketball games like the NBA 2K, which we saw in the reveal trailer as well. They've got two people playing on one and they've got two people playing on the other. But that doesn't depend on a split screen. That's just a single screen, which then you can play between the two characters.
Cool, and they can see their character here, they can run around the screen and their focus is solely on the character. Yeah, like that, it works. But to split screen a shooter, I mean, you wouldn't play Call of Duty on a split screen. I know you can, like on the Wii U and that on the TV, when you're doing you can if it's split screen, but whenever I play Call of Duty and I have someone in the room with me, one of us uses the gamepad, the other one uses the TV. We don't do split screen. That's just something we just don't do, and it should be the same with Splatoon. No split screen. So it does seem like the Switch does require more screens to play multiplayer, if they even bother to include it. I mean, they might just go for the online multiplayer and that's it.
Yeah, there is that. Or the local play, like the 3DS, where it depends on another
device in the
Switch device to play from the other player. Which, in a way, you got to think it'll be like the 3DS. When you're playing Triforce Heroes, you don't all sit around the same screen. When you play Mario Kart 7, you don't all sit around the same screen. But it does have the download play where one person has the cartridge and the other can just automatically connect. With like a
and it might be, and it would be good if they included that for the Switch as well. But it's one thing as well that I do want to quickly bring up with the Switch, since you mentioned like wireless planner. Will it feature Straight Pass? Because that is a very good function. You know, it's supposed to have a share button so you can share to YouTube and all that. And since it's a console you can take with you on the go, why not include Street Pass and Spot Pass? You know, Nintendo have done a great job with that on the 3DS. Why just leave it there?
Yeah.
It would be nice to see them bring it to the Nintendo Switch, and if they can ping off the 3DS and vice versa, and that's pretty cool. But if not, it's just Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch. But it would be something cool to see. And since we're discussing 3DS cartridges, how about we move on to backwards compatibility?
I think that would be a good idea. Now, we've seen the cartridges in the reveal demo. Now, it does look like they're probably no more the size of an SD card, maybe a little bit bulkier, and we already know that SD cards can actually hold quite a lot of memory. We're talking 64, we're talking 128. It's got a lot of potential. Yeah, to have so much memory on something so small. Now we know that the 3DS cartridges are the size of those. Now it does look a little bit. Well, let's be fair. It does look smaller than the 3DS cartridges, and also they're going to hold a lot of power. Now I don't know whether it's going to be compatible with the 3DS, and there are doubts of whether it's going to be compatible with the Wii U, backwards compatibility with the Wii U for discs, unless this is where the docking station comes into play. Because you look at that, that's quite a bulky device for something that just sits the gamepad onto, the Joy-Con tablet onto. Sorry. That looks quite bulky for something that's just going to project basically what's on that to the screen.
Yeah. See, I would. We know they have cartridges, but I would actually prefer it if the docking station did have some sort of disc drive, or at least if it doesn't, Nintendo go, you know what, we will do an external disc drive, because for starters, every game I buy, I try to go physical because I prefer physical to digital. Just like you do. But, you know, loads and loads of people are the same as us. Not everyone is a digital demon. So for them to not include disc compatibility, you know, after all this time of always having backwards compatibility, to do it now seems like a shot in the foot. It's because, you know, these people, these gamers who are going to upgrade their system to the NX, Nintendo Switch, still not used to saying that. What about all the money they've spent over the years? Nintendo like, haha, you brought those games, you're a fool, you should have done digital. No, they should do something like, if they don't make a way for this to work, they should find a way or make it possible. If you own that game, you can get a code that will entitle you to get it off the eShop for the Nintendo Switch. Because it seems foolish not to have it. I mean, yes, some people
there's got to
already
be some kind of loyalty for their fans. Those that have actually bought these games over the years. I mean, like I said, I've got about 31 titles all in retail, let alone what I've got on the Wii U as well. And it'll be a great shame that I've got to keep two different devices. Now, I love my Wii U. I'm not going to say no. I love my Wii U, but it does seem a shame to sort of like disregard that just because I got the Nintendo Switch. Now, space in a place. I mean, I wish I could keep 100 different games consoles. Unfortunately, I don't have the space for all of them, and my girlfriend would murder me. But there is another thing that we did not sort of take into account. Now, if there's no, definite on this, no confirmation. If there is backwards compatibility with the Wii U, now you've seen how the Nintendo Switch sits in the docking station and then comes up onto the TV.
I was going to say this. What they should do if they did it.
A lot of them depend on having the gamepad in your hand.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say this myself to you. What would make sense if they did have a disc able to play this, but it will only play the Wii U games when it is in the docking station, meaning you can't go out and play your Wii U games, but you can play them when you're at home.
Yes, but the problem is a lot of Wii U games, especially from Nintendo, rely on dual.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Now, you got to think. Now, if there was a way that when you're at home, and close proximity allows you to play your Wii U games at home. It then means you can use the Joy-Con controller in your hand as that second screen. But I don't think that's the case. So I think, in a way, we have answered our own question. No, there is not going to be backwards compatibility with the Wii U. Because if there was, then what mechanic have they got in place so that you can use the Joy-Con controller, the Nintendo Switch tablet, to be able to play the games on the screen as well? And if it's got some sort of like NFC sort of device in play for that, so the close proximity will help, portray the game onto the main screen, and vice versa, sort of like the Wii U, or does it just not have it at all? Another thing to talk about is Amiibo support. Obviously it's going to have Amiibo support. Nintendo really worked hard on building that franchise up. So is it going to be a case like on the new 3DS, you actually tap it onto the screen?
Right, no, wait. This has been said, the actual device itself, the pad, that is what supports the Amiibo. The Amiibo gets tapped onto that. The docking station does not interact with the Amiibo at all. It is the pad itself that does it. But I know we moved away from backwards compatibility, but there was one thing that needs to be said. The Wii U, as we know, was a failure. But there were a lot of loyal Nintendo fans who bought this console. For Nintendo not to do some sort of backwards compatibility or some way for them to have their physical games on the Nintendo Switch, that would be a major insult. A lot of loyal fans bought the console, they stayed with the console, and they bought a lot of games for the console. For Nintendo not to acknowledge that or do something, to award them for their loyalty, that would be wrong. And if they did that, they could actually lose a lot of gamers.
Yes.
They do not pay respect to the ones who did buy the Wii U. There could be trouble.
Well, there is one last thought on that, one final thought before we end this video. Now, in talking about backwards compatibility, we know that the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is going to be on the Wii U, as promised, and it is also coming to the NX. Now, why have backwards compatibility for a game that you can have on the Wii U and on the NX, and you think, well, we want to sell the copy of the NX. So if people start buying the Wii U, knowing there's backwards compatibility, and if it's, for example, something silly like €5 or $5 or £5 cheaper than the Nintendo Switch version, people will just buy the Wii U version and play it on the Switch.
No, they won't. Because if the Switch has some sort of different gimmick or something like that, they'll want that one. So I understand what you mean, but the thing is, that's one of the arguments you could argue. It's like, well, if they're having it on both consoles, and that purely means they aren't doing backwards compatibility because they won't need it to, because it's already available on both games. The thing is, we just don't know, and Nintendo are not going to comment on that until next year.
Well, as we already know, the Breath of the Wild is on both consoles. It's going to be on both consoles. Going back to, say, the Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, now that did come out on both consoles. That came out on the GameCube originally, and then it was redone for the Wii. Difference with that was it had motion controls. It had a gimmick for people to actually want to get the Wii U version even after buying the GameCube version. Whether people liked it or not afterwards is a completely different story, but the fact that you could swing your hand and the Link uses the sword made more appeal for people to get the Wii version. Now, I don't know whether just because you can take it out into the great wide world and play it wherever you like, whether that would be enough for people to buy the NX version or those that have the Wii U. Now, saying that, we know that people that haven't bought the Wii U will get the Switch version anyway, but those that have already got the Wii U, that's another story. And we're looking
Yes.
at you.
No, I know. my computer's pinging with important stuff, so naturally I have to look away. No, it's a good point. The fact is, Nintendo Switch, all we know is its name and what it looks like. We don't actually know anything. We know about Amiibo support, we know about this. But the companies who are all saying, oh yeah, we support the NX, we're backing it, they're not actually confirmed games. They're refusing to confirm games. Nintendo aren't going to talk about the device, about the console until next year. They're not going to talk about they're not going to announce games, not doing specs, and no major actual news will come from them regarding the console. So as far as the Nintendo Switch goes, we know nothing. We just had the rumours confirmed. That's all it was. That's the only thing that's changed between yesterday, 24 hours ago, and now. All we know is the NX is called the Switch, and the rumours, the Eurogamer rumours, they're true. That's actually all we know.
That's about all we know. But there is one thing that we do know. Now, as regards to confirmed games for the Nintendo Switch, we know almost nothing, and everyone's keeping quiet. Even Image and Form, who you have been directly in contact with, have been very, very coy about what game is coming to the Nintendo Switch, even though we already know what game they've got in development, but they're coy on whether it actually comes to the Switch or not. Guys.
Yeah, that's because they're awesome. But that's
they are. But that can be exactly the same. That can be exactly the same for Bethesda, for 2K, for EA and Ubisoft. Of course they're going to be quite, because they've got the development kits. They've got to get these games out, but they still want to test the water first. They want to see what that reception is like.
It's not just that, because it's like Bethesda. They haven't and they won't officially comment on Skyrim coming to the NX, despite the fact we saw it playable on the NX. They're not confirmed. That's the Switch. I don't like the name. It's hard getting used to it. But despite the fact we've seen it on the Switch, they're not confirming the game is coming to the Switch. They're not saying nothing. No one actually wants to say anything on the NX. I mean, the only people I've had that I've spoken to that are going, yeah, we want to bring games to the NX and it'd be this game and that game, is Ratalaika Games and Wraith Games going, yeah, we'd like to bring Physics and Lance Burst into the NX, the Nintendo Switch. But it depends if the console comes out or we get our hands on the dev kits. If we don't, then it's only going to be a Wii U game. But they're the only people that are actually talking about games coming to. Even Yacht Club Games are going, we look forward to making games where it's going to be fun, but won't comment what games. No one's saying nothing. It's incredible. We know a little bit more than we know yesterday, and we're not going to know anything else until next year.
Let's face it, let's put some of these rumours to rest, or what people are telling us. No. Now, we know that Yacht Club Games, right, their biggest game is Shovel Knight, and they're working really, really hard for the DLC for Shovel Knight. They've done Plague Knight, they're going to do Spectre Knight and King Knight, so it is only a matter of time before they actually release a so to speak, a complete version which will come to the Switch. You just know it. Of course they're going to. They would be insane not to release a full version to the thing, because they are working so hard on this game to keep it going, to keep it alive. There's no talks of a sequel or whatever. Well, there are ideas, but they are still working hard to keeping the original Shovel Knight going. So you know that once they finish up this DLC, it's going to come to the Nintendo Switch. It's got to.
Well, no, it is coming to the Nintendo Switch, and here's why. One, they're not trying to keep the game going. They're fulfilling their promises. They said the game would have this, and this. So they're trying to make it the game they promised it would be. So it's not they're trying to keep going, they're making it the game it's going to be. But also, when does the Spectre of Torment campaign come out? Spring 2017, right? When does the NX or Nintendo Switch come out? Spring 2017. Now, although they're working the King Knight campaign at the same time, there's talk that won't be out till summer. If they're really going to have like the final updates come out during the summertime, You're telling me they're not going to go, 7-8 Nintendo Switch! Yeah!
Dun, 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 dun. And on that bombshell, it is time to end the video because, as usual, we ran a lot longer than we're supposed to. So thank you all, guys and girls, for watching our video. So it is goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me, but one other thing, we've been posting a lot of actually good content on our site that no one else seems to be posting at this moment, and I don't know why. So you might want to check out Nintendo 64 because we're getting some news that no one else is.
So yes, guys and girls, so please be sure to use the website that I have put in the video here. It says www.mytendo64.com and all the news about the Nintendo Switch. And also a lot more exclusive content as well from Wraith Games, from Ratalaika, and many, many, many more. So until next time, do you want to say it or shall I? Go on, you say it. Until next time.
Keep on gaming. I forgot that.